live, laugh.
How's it going, everybody? This is Daniel. You're listening to Live, Laugh, Lariat, and we are joined by our first ever Knight on Live, Laugh, Lariat. We're joined by Sir Knight Merrik Donovan. How are you doing tonight?
Huzzah! I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just gonna start off. Is it a real sword?
Yes, this is a real sword. I don't have it. It's in my trunk. So usually I'll be like, oh, here it is, but it's my
Yeah.
trunk.
You ever worry about traveling with that thing that people are gonna be like, "Why do you have a sword?"
Yeah, so I drive. So
Okay.
instead of like flying, that it just keeps me away. But I have a sword in the Midwest. So if I ever go to the Midwest, I already have a sword there, so I don't have to worry about traveling. I can
Yeah.
just fly there. Um, so like I need to get one in Florida. That way I'm like, okay, I have swords everywhere, so I don't have to worry about
I love
flying with
that.
one.
I love that you just have swords.
Yeah.
Is it?
There's a website, medievalcollectibles.com, and like
Yeah.
I just wait for them to be like on discount or like on sale, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, cool, I'll buy that. So
Okay.
yeah.
I have a lot of sword questions, and we can get into those a little bit later.
Okay.
But before we start, where can everybody find you on socials? Do you have any shows that you're coming up that you're going to be a part of that you'd like people to check out?
Yeah. On socials, it's SK Merrik Donovan. There's no C on Merrick. Siri likes to put a C in my name, but if you do SK Merrik Donovan, no C, it should work. And that's on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. It's just Merrik Donovan, and then on TikTok, it's SK Merrik Donovan. But you can also find me as Night Bay. So there's that too.
Is that like a secret like dance account?
No, it was an account that I had to start like almost 2 years ago last week because I went viral for my other job. So that's the only reason why I had TikTok, and that's why I'm that big.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about that. I have a little bit of idea. That's definitely something I want to talk about. I have two TikToks. One is the one that I look at when like I'm sober. And then I have one that I watch when I'm not sober. So that the stuff I like on there, I have a curated TikTok for non-sober Daniel, and it's nice. So I do have two TikToks, but a little different reasoning. Do you have any shows coming up that you'd like to advertise?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. I know I will. Well, I don't know if this will come out by then, but there's Ashe Wrestling. That's this Friday. And
this Friday.
I do know that UPW has a show coming up December 17th.
Yeah.
I'll be there if anything. And that's all that I know of so far.
Okay. And then what can people get you for Christmas? This is something that I just thought would be cool.
What could they get me for Christmas? They can buy my merch.
Okay.
They can buy my merch, which is on brainbustertees.com/Merrik Donovan. Or no, it's Sir Knight Merrik Donovan. But I have stuff on there.
You also have a calendar, if I'm not mistaken. Is that available?
I do have a calendar for 2023. I need to make one for 2024, but that's only if people buy it. So
yeah. If you want a Merrik Donovan calendar, just let us know. We
let us know.
Yeah.
I can make it work. I can make it happen.
Yeah, you just need 12 pictures. That's all a calendar is.
You know, because like once the calendar is done, you just cut the pictures out, and now you have free 8x10s of me. So at the end of the day, you're getting a discount 8x10.
Yeah, it's crazy not to buy it. What does the method go into like, ooh, this is March, this is April? Like, how do you pick which picture for which?
So I just took a combination of just it was like a lot of pictures. And then I know for February you have to do something that's like, oh, okay, this is Lover Boy month.
Yeah.
I made sure for Pride month to just have something that's little fun for everyone.
Yeah, of course.
And then my birthday month, I tried to make it like it was a decent picture. However, I'm born in October, so it was also Halloween, and I just used the pictures of me in a bloody mask.
Okay.
And then December, of course, it's the end of the month, the end of the year. Gotta give them a gift. It was me, basically bare with a title around my waist. So had to have some fun there. And with a picture bag.
I think we just sold 4 calendars. Hopefully 5. Yeah, that's awesome. Speaking of awesome, wrestling's awesome. You're a wrestler, but with every journey in wrestling, there is a start. What was your first introduction to wrestling?
Uh, the first introduction of wrestling that I remember, it's still very vague because back then we had TVs that you had to dial, and like if you
Yeah.
weren't getting the right one, it's a little fuzzy. I remember it was, I want to say it was Booker T and Goldust were a tag team,
Oh
and
yeah.
somebody got thrown into like the electrical box, and there were sparks everywhere. So like that's the first thing I ever remember from wrestling. But what really resonates with me, to like when I started watching passionately, was John Cena and Kurt Angle in the rap battle. And
Okay.
then when they showed the clip of him and Big Show having a rap battle, and Big Show, went number two on himself in live
Yeah.
TV. So I those are the main things that I remember that really got me into it.
Yeah. Have you rewatched any of that stuff like as an adult?
Have
Yeah.
I?
It hasn't aged well.
No, I don't think I have at all. But like I can think of it now, and it's just like, oh, go to memory. And I know like if
Yeah.
I go to watch it now, it's just like, oh, geez. Especially just seeing Kurt like try to just
Yeah.
rap. I don't want to see that.
Yeah. No, no. I recently I started watching in like 2005, like
Mhm.
SmackDown era. So probably somewhere around the same area. And I went back and just started. I was trying to find the first episode I ever watched, and it was rough. Like some of
Yeah.
the stuff, like yeah, you think that like there's a reason Vince McMahon has the rap that he has. I'll just put it
Oh,
that way.
geez. But it's crazy too to think about how much people got away with like a couple of
Oh,
years ago versus now. It's just like,
yeah,
ugh.
yeah. Like Vince McMahon said the N word on
Yeah.
TV, and
I, I've
he's
I've seen that clip a couple of times. So
that is insane to me that he like if that happened today, he would be yeah.
yeah.
It's it's sad that back then it was fine.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't say fine. There were probably some people mad, but not mad enough to
Do
cause
something.
backlash. Yeah. Um, so John Cena, were you like a fan of because it seems like the first memory and then this is kind of like theatrical, the larger than life characters. Is that what drew you in initially?
Yeah, it was really just the character work because really yeah, I watched like uh Heat and Velocity, and like I would watch Raw, but really what stuck with me was TNA. Like
Yeah,
I just feel like TNA's characters and stuff was so much better than like WWE in a sense, or just their wrestling styles in general. Like
yeah,
just I have what Genesis 2005, and that was when Christian Cage made the crossover, and like I can still watch and just like love it. You just
yeah,
have Monty Brown and the charismatic Enigma Jeff Hardy, and
yeah, yeah,
just it just brings me back. It just
yeah,
brings me
yeah.
back to happy times.
Yeah. TNA, I think it gets shit on a lot, but like they like think of what AJ Styles did for the business and like
Yeah,
this and like Kurt Angle had some of his best years there and Christian Cage kind of reinvented himself.
yeah,
Definitely Sting. Like I don't think people gives like TNA Sting enough credit.
yeah.
Definitely cool. Who is your favorite like all-time TNA wrestler?
All time TNA. It would have to be Jeff Hardy, TNA Jeff Hardy. Like
Yeah,
WWE Jeff Hardy's cool, but like TNA Jeff Hardy, like that's when I felt like he was able to be himself fully, and like you would just like have a connection with him. Like it was cool when he crossed back over, and then when he
yeah,
like came back, but like that first stint of just him when he's like, I'm not with my brother, I'm my own wrestler.
mm,
Like it was a good time.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're a Matt or a Jeff over Matt guy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I
Like
think
Matt's cool, but I just feel
yeah,
like Matt's just like I like Matt's like the brother that hey, do this, do that, like
yeah,
the type A brother, and then
yeah,
like Jeff's just like, oh, I'm gonna the wild child, I'm gonna do
yeah,
what I want to do, like freedom is just. So I kind of resonate with that a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, did you like take your love of wrestling like outside of like the TV? Were you like wrestling with your friends in the backyard or
No. uh, I me and my friend, like nobody like really was into wrestling. Like we would play the video games because
Um,
it's video games and it's a way to get away. But
yeah,
as far as like legitimately wrestling, no. I did put this one kid in a ankle lock in what was it, sixth grade?
yeah,
It was either sixth or seventh grade, and like that was the only thing I really did that was like the most outlandish thing.
yeah, yeah,
uh, but I did take me to like amateur wrestling. But other than that, like I didn't do anything like any wrestling moves all the time.
yeah. I definitely during like the Chris Masters debut, I was
Hmm.
definitely like, hey, just let me come here real quick. Just putting people in full Nelsons left and right. Um,
Yeah, we
so
didn't have
you,
any kid that did that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you went from so being a fan of wrestling, and you said that caused you to like be an amateur wrestler as well.
Yeah, it was. I think that's what my real reasoning is. Sometimes you just do things and you don't even
Yeah,
know why. But like, I think my real reasoning for doing amateur wrestling was because of WWE and stuff like that. Like, I wanted to wrestle and stuff, but like, I knew the differences,
yeah,
but like, I really wanted to actually just, wrestle and stuff. So I went in and I did that. And I also, so I should have started my eighth grade year
mhm,
because we didn't have a team until you got to high school. But I should have
yeah.
started my eighth grade year. But I was actually in drama classes,
Okay,
so I did drama sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, and then I went into amateur wrestling my high school year. So like had a little background in
yeah.
yeah.
What were some of the favorite roles that you've done?
So it was a very like our drama teacher was not. It was more so for like forensics. So like forensic clubs versus like actual class,
Okay,
and it was just I don't know. Like I know one year I was Batman and like I couldn't find a utility belt for the longest time, so I just used the WWE Tag Team Championship belt,
yeah.
and I just covered it up with like some tape that was like, oh, there's no trademark, it's just a utility belt. And like I had my Heelys, so like I would Heely
Okay,
around like a Batman, but I can't remember what the next play was. But yeah, other than that, we didn't really do much, so it was just
yeah.
one play a year.
If I'm understanding it correctly, let me paint a picture. Full Batman getup,
Yeah.
correct? WWE Championship belt with tape on it, so you can't see that it's that,
Hmm.
and Heelys, and you're
Yes.
just running, and then he. For those who don't know, Heelys are the shoes that have the wheels in them, so you're just like gliding across the stage.
Yeah, yeah. I did that a couple of times, maybe once or twice. But yep, that was the get up. It was just like
That's awesome.
wee.
Yeah, I think that what all superheroes should have Heelys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just think about the Flash with Heelys. You're just like
yeah,
running and all of a sudden just Heelys and you just no work, no effort at all.
yeah. You get up to enough speed, you just kick the Heelys on, and you're not doing any work. It's just like cruise control. That we might have to workshop that to a network.
Okay.
So drama club wrestling. In the back of your mind, did you always want to be like a professional wrestling, and this was kind of like a way to reach into those aspects? Because like the big theater, like that's definitely a part of wrestling, and then the actual physical part with the amateur wrestling.
Yeah. I don't know, cause te- uh, I ended up going to school and I did school and stuff like that, and I was doing other things, and I was like, okay, cool. And then like one day I had a breakup, and I was
Yeah,
like, I need to live my life.
yeah,
So, and then that's when I was like, let me go into wrestling. Like I want to do something competitive.
yeah,
And despite the thoughts that wrestling is not real, it is real.
yeah,
It was either UFC or wrestling, and I was just
uh-huh,
like, you know what? I don't want to fuck up my face.
yeah,
So I'm gonna do wrestling. So that's really what I ended up doing. But I've always liked attention. So I guess
yeah,
that's why I did the drama and I like
mm,
acting and attention.
yeah.
But then I just like the physicalness of just wrestling. So that's
Perfect.
why I did those two things. But maybe subconsciously that
Yeah,
was something I wanted to do.
yeah. So, were you watching wrestling the entire like from like college on, or did you stop it? Or
I stopped. I think I stopped maybe my junior or senior year. Because I know I made it to 10, 10, 10 with Impact when
yeah,
yeah, jeez. But I don't know if I stopped a little bit after that or not. But then I got back into it. I want to say like my senior year of college.
Okay.
Really, what brought me back to it was just Leo Rush.
Uh,
His top prospect championship run in the tournament was just, it really brought me into it. Just his underdog story, his style, and just like his stories that he's always able to tell. It just
yeah.
really just gripped me all the time. So that was, he really brought me back in. He was just, I'm a big fan of him.
Oh yeah. Of course.
So that's really what brought me back. And after that, I just started just going down a rabbit's hole of just wrestling and watching. And I was like, I want to do this, and just studying and finding
Mhm.
different things. So yeah,
So, you break up with your girlfriend. You decide
yeah.
to live your life. At what point do you decide wrestling over UFC because you want to keep your face looking good?
Hmm.
Where do you go from there as far as actually like training?
So it was, me and my girlfriend broke up November of 2016. I feel like between, was it November? Yeah, I think it was like early, either October or November. It was somewhere in that area. Because I remember the election.
Yeah.
um, so then after that, it was I know I was trying to figure out from like January of 2016 to 2017. I think that was when I was like, okay, I want to do wrestling, but I'm trying to figure out how. At this time, I was a high school varsity wrestling coach.
Okay.
So I was still doing wrestling stuff, but I was just like, so like I'm in the season, like I'm with my kids and stuff. Something had happened at the beginning of the season, so that kind of like pushed me to, and I'm just like, dog, like what am I like? I don't know, like I need to learn, I need experience, I need life
Yeah.
in general. So like it was all stuff to like, all right, go branch out, go branch out. So originally I was looking at MCW because Leo, and I was like, if Leo was good, he got good training and stuff like that, I should go follow him in a
Yeah.
sense. There was another place in Virginia, Ground Zero Wrestling. I think it was like GXPW or something like that. I went to one of their shows. That's actually where Jordan Blade, if you heard of her, she's from there.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else, if I remember I met Rayo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Rayo was there, and I've seen him around. He's like a Peruvian wrestler.
Yeah.
Or Rayo is Rayo. And like I met them. Those are the only people. And Rick, who else? Yeah, those are the only people I really remember. I remember Phil Brown as well. Different names. And like I was like, okay, cool. And I thought about going there, but then one of my friends, because this is when GroupMe was still popular,
Uh-huh.
and like I had a group of just wrestling fans and stuff, and this one girl was like, hey, you should go to Devon School in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay, cool. And like it was near WrestleMania, and so I was looking from like January until like April, and
Mhm.
like they had a deal that was like $9.99 for a year worth of
Yeah.
training. So I was like, all right, cool. And I took my whole stipends check from that year of coaching wrestling,
Uh-huh.
and I paid for my whole year of wrestling with that check. I gave them an extra dollar because it was like, it's $9.99. I might as well give you 1,000.
Yeah.
So I just gave them the whole 1,000, and yeah, I started training. So I paid in April. I never seen the school. I didn't know. Like I looked into it. Um, I knew it was reputable, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go. So I didn't. I moved June 3rd of 2017, and I started training June 7th.
Okay.
June 7th was my first day of training, um, and the rest is history. So yeah.
Were you a big like Dudley Boys guy before that?
uh, was I? Not really. I had seen them on TNA because that
Yeah.
was my main enjoyment of wrestling. So I seen them on TNA, and I understood that, and I understood when they were aces and eights. Um, but I wasn't like the hugest guy. I knew, what's up, and I knew get the tables and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because I owned the CD. I can't remember what WWE original was, it originals, or was it the black and white one where like all the WWE superstars had songs and lyrics and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I remember just listening to the Welcome to Dudleyville,
Yeah.
and like they're just rapping, and then at the end it's like Devon, whoa, get the tables, and like they
Uh,
had I feel like it was an ECW clip on
yeah.
the end of it, and it was like it was, I think Joey Styles. No, that was Taz. It was a Taz clip that was on Taz's song. But either way,
Yeah, yeah.
I remember listening to that song and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. So you show up. Something I'm always curious about, like especially people that love wrestling, is what was the moment like when you first like stepped into the ring?
Yeah. I'm a very nonchalant person, so when I stepped into the ring, it was like cool. Like, it wasn't anything really crazy. Um, and plus, just the mentality at that time was very just like hardworking and determined. So like when you touch the ring, it was just like, it's like, okay, I'm here. I
Yeah.
deserve this, and now like I have to keep working and get to it because when I first got there, they had a training regimen. So like you would come
Uh,
in and you would work out for what, 3 hours or so.
uh,
And granted, like there were some other people that would like, so you'll come in, we'll do a group training exercise. And then after the group training exercise, then you had, it's called ME, muscular endurance training.
yeah.
And then that would take like an hour and a half. And then after that, you would like do move training and learn your bumps and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So uh, you kind of, if you touched it, it was the workout. So like by the time
Yeah.
you touched it, you're like, and you're getting yelled at by this guy. So our muscular endurance trainer is Dan Carr. If you ever watched American Gladiator, he's one of the creators for it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, like so he's just yelling at you for everything, and you're just like, all right, cool. So like you don't even have time to think, oh, I'm in the wrestling ring finally, yay! It's just
Yeah.
like, okay, I gotta finish this drill, gotta finish this
Yeah.
drill. So like, it never really dawned on me that I was in the ring until it probably still hasn't dawned on me. Like some days I just get in and I'm like, okay, I'm there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. For me, it's like I always think like if I were to like take the leap, that would be like a really cool moment. And for some people, it's just like, yeah, this is the moment I stepped in there. It's like I was born there. And then we have others that are just like, it's time to get to work. And I don't think either is a wrong way to
Yeah.
handle that. Um, you were very involved in amateur wrestling. What would you say the biggest difference is transitioning from amateur wrestling to uh, professional wrestling?
Stiffness. Your body for amateur wrestling, you're like, it's don't let anybody push you, don't let anybody like manipulate you to do anything that you don't want to do.
Uh-huh.
You're in control. To wrestling, it's, hey, I have to flow with this person to like give them body parts, and like we have to move together or else I'm gonna break something just because I'm so stiff.
Yeah.
I remember like I still have some training videos from like when I first started, and like I would go into the original wrestling stance where you're all crouched out and stuff. And
Yeah.
my trainer, Serpentico, that's on AEW, he was just like, stand up straight. You're
Mhm.
all hunched over. Stand up straight. You
Yeah.
have to be bigger because you have to make sure the person at the end, like the top of the bleachers, if we're
Yeah.
in, you know, PNC Arena, like they need to be able to see you. And
Yeah. Of
like,
course.
okay, cool. So like you have to learn how to get up versus like be this small, stiff person. You have to be this
Yeah.
wild, wiry, like tall person. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was a it was a learning curve for a while.
Yeah. How is like, because there's a tiny bit of padding in a wrestling ring, not much. How is it for like, let's say, taking a slam on like a wrestling mat versus the ring?
uh it's been so long since I've like taken one. But I think it's about the same because the amount of padding that's on a wrestling ring is about the
Yeah.
same amount of padding that's on a wrestling mat. Um, it's about the same thickness. So it's about the same. It's not
Okay.
too bad. It just depends on how old the ring is. Like I wrestled in this one place, the Sausage Castle, if you ever heard of it. It they
You
have
said
the
the
original,
Sausage Castle?
yeah, the Sausage Castle.
Okay.
Yeah. It made appearance on Tiger King. So yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah. I wrestled there and they have the original WrestleMania 3 ring, and
okay.
that was horrible. So yeah, rings have made a complete rise from what they
Yeah.
used to be. Yes.
So That's pretty cool that you've wrestled on the because WrestleMania 3, like Hogan slamming Andre. That's like
Yeah,
this big like you've taken a bump on the same place as Andre the Giant. That's pretty cool. But
yeah,
that's
and
like a
it
side
hurt.
note.
It
In a
hurt.
place called the Sausage Palace.
Yeah, no, it's a sausage castle.
Okay, sorry. Is it like I'm? Is it a bar? Is it like a venue? Like
It's so the sausage castle is owned by Mike Busey, and it's a bachelor pad. It's a very large bachelor pad. He has everything: basketball court,
okay,
baseball field, warehouses. He has a whole mini golf course. What else? He has a lot. I think he might have a football field on there too. And then he lives in a mansion. So it's an invite only type of thing, but
okay,
it's they have wrestling sometimes. If you Top Dollar used to be their champion there for a while.
interesting.
But yeah, it's a real place.
I'm looking at pictures right now. There's somebody who is standing on a plane,
Yes, there's a
um,
plane there.
and he's blowing fire. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, okay, so that makes that makes a lot more sense that they have Andre the Giant's ring as opposed to like a dive bar. And yeah, okay. Oh, here's a picture of the ring. That's pretty. Yep. Okay,
Yep.
back on track.
Yeah. I heard
So
too, like they have like one of the original like Taco Bell signs there too, and you're just like, why do you have all? Oh wait, it's
yeah,
a giant man pad. Okay, cool. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's like a if Cribs was an event venue.
yes.
Okay, yeah. I encourage everyone after they're done watching this to go look up pictures because whatever you're thinking it is, it's not. It's a little bit more. Um, so when you first started wrestling, like how soon into your training are you thinking about a character?
So I already had a character planned out.
Okay.
He didn't really have anything going to him. He wasn't a character guy. I
Yeah.
just had a name and stuff because you play 2K
Yeah. You
and
got
you're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna make this person. And like, so if you actually go onto my YouTube, shameless plug, there's old clips of me because I started doing a vlog like when I
yeah.
first started, and it was supposed to be the rise to Frankie Gage. Like that was the topic. That was what I
Yeah.
was going to make and stuff like that. That quickly went away.
Okay.
So that quickly went away, and then we got to my second character, and I feel like my second character came about, I want to say almost a year into training,
Yeah.
because we used to have like a whole process and stuff like that, and it usually takes you about a year. Some people it takes a little bit less, but I worked another job where it always took me out of training.
Yeah.
I wanted to, so it took me about a year. But like my second character, his name was Joel Price. Well, it was supposed to be Bryce, but the person messed it up, so they said Price. So it was Joel Price. He was supposed to be a fuckboy.
Okay.
And I was gonna come out to American Boy, and like that was the flow. I was gonna be like throwing out flowers and like
Yeah.
getting the ladies and X, Y, and Z, but I couldn't figure out how to make it work. So then, and then because of my other job, well, working at Medieval Times and stuff,
Yeah.
that's where Merrick came out. So
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up. I have questions.
Okay.
Medieval times, for those who don't know, can you explain what medieval times is?
Yes, Medieval Times is a dinner theater restaurant slash theater. So basically, you would come in. They're all castles. There's 10 different
Yeah.
castles. There's one in the first one is where I worked at in Kissimmee, Florida, beside Disney Orlando, if you
Uh,
have it. Then you have one in Buena Park, California, Phoenix, Arizona, Chicago, Dallas, New Jersey, Baltimore, Myrtle Beach, Atlanta, Toronto. That's it, I think.
okay.
And there's 10. Um, and you come in, they're castles. You come in, you enjoy yourself, you eat four-course meal. Your meal includes a tomato bisque soup with garlic bread. The soup is the best part. I
Yeah.
promise you, the soup is one of the best parts of the dinner. Like I
Yeah.
like the whole dinner, but like the soup is amazing. Some places they call it dragon blood, but It's a tomato bisque soup.
Yeah.
You get half a piece of chicken, like half a chicken,
Yeah.
corn, potato, half a potato, and then later you get a dessert. You have your regular drinks, Pepsi, uh, lemonade, tea, water. Yeah. You see how long I worked there. I know the whole
Yeah. Yeah.
menu. You also have vegan and vegetarian, or vegetarian. Is it vegan? I think it's vegan. Yeah, you have vegan option, vegetarian option. They say vegetarian option, but it's kind of a vegan option. So you can get hummus with pita bread and then carrots and celery, or you can get a rice, bean, potato soup. It's really
Uh,
good. But if you get that, put hot sauce in it. It makes it better. If you want to get that, bring cumin with you. It
okay.
makes it even better. Like I don't like it. Just it's always missing something, and I feel like if you put a little bit of cumin in it, point like
So
perfect. So that's the food aspect. The rest of the aspect is literally a theater where right now the story is there's a queen. Her father just passed away. You have six knights that are doing a tournament basically in front of her, and that's really it. We ride horses. We do tricks. It's called long lines. There's four horses that come out. You do different tricks.
yeah.
Piaffe, capriole, Piaffe Persage, and the hind leg walk. Then we have parade, which is like a nice little parade with flags and armor and stuff like that. Then we do games. There's like four. Yeah, it's four games. Used to be a fifth one, but we took that out because it's a little bit hard to train the horses with that.
Yeah.
And then that's when the fights happen. I'm not going to tell you how to dictate which fight's winning because I know, obviously. And honestly, you can dictate that middle of the show, but I'm not going to tell you that. And then you have the fights, and then you get eventually there's always going to be a bad guy, good guy type of fight, and
Yeah.
that's it. And it's a good time. It's usually about like an hour 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and it's a good time for family. It's a good time for friends. Bachelor parties, if you want to get drunk with your guy friends and watch some guys fight. For the ladies, if you want to always see that Prince Charming, there you go.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of bachelorette parties there, but it's a good time.
What was harder, your first day at medieval times or your first day at wrestling training?
Uh, so my first day at medieval times, I was in the back working with the horses, so it wasn't too bad. So I have to say, I would say wrestling training because I had to work out the first day.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah. So, like, how in depth is I apologize that we're probably gonna talk 10 minutes about medieval times, but
that's fine.
the people need to know. How much training goes into it? Because you're riding a horse, you're doing sword fighting.
Yeah.
These aren't things that you wanna, like, not have the knowledge to do. So how long does it take to fully get trained to do this?
So it all depends on. I'll say this. It all depends on like how hardworking you are. I think that's
Yeah.
the right way I can say it. It all depends on how hard you work. There you go. Grammar is not my best subject.
Yeah.
So it all depends. So there's a training process called head, leg, shoulders. So you have eight key points. So you have your head strike, which is right above your head.
Yeah.
Your leg strike, which is from your knee to like right above your ankle, and you have your shoulder strike, which is from your shoulder to like the bottom of your earlobe.
Yeah.
Finally, there's a cut portion where you just do a cut slice and then you repeat it on the opposite side in a sense. So
Yeah.
it'd be head, leg, shoulder, come through, head, leg, shoulder, come through, cut type deal. And then you also have to learn the blocks. And the blocks are head block, leg block, shoulder block. Yeah, this is cut
Yeah.
motion, not to get cut. So there's that. And after you pass, so then there's a test for that. So you have to do head, leg, shoulder, jump, cut, head, leg, shoulder blocks. And then you have to cut. You have to do that 4 times for one series. And you have to do that first series in 2 minutes. Then you have to do the next series in a minute 45. And the last series in a minute 30. And like you have to do it 3 times, obviously, slower, medium, fast.
Okay.
Once you pass that, then you start. Well, now they change it a little bit, but like then you start riding the horses and like learning how to ride a horse. One of the first horses I rode was he was a quarter horse. His name was Cowboy Jack, but we called him
Okay.
Cowboy. Grumpy old man horse. He used to, whenever you put the saddle on, because of like his PTSD from other people,
Yeah.
he would, try to bite you or and stuff like that. So like I remember one of the first, like it wasn't one of the first times I knew he was trying to bite me. So like I'm taking it slow because
Yeah.
I'm respectful to the horses because not all people are assholes. I'm
Yeah.
being respectful to the horse. And like I move away from the bite and I'm like, ha ha. I didn't say that out loud because they have
Yeah.
feelings too. And
Yeah.
he kicks me with his back leg in my knee, and I'm just like, all right, you got me. Like I'm like, oh, I did it. No, I
Yeah.
didn't do it at all.
Yeah.
But he got me a couple of times. He's gotten people way worse than he's gotten me. I know he's got me like here somewhere. Then one of my favorite horses, even just because like when I first started, he kind of had
Yeah.
just gotten there. His name is Mercenario, but everybody calls him Mercy. He's a little temperamental. I'll be honest. He was also kind of iffy about people putting a saddle on him because you don't nobody wants a tight saddle on them regardless of
Yeah.
even if you're being nice. And it got to the point where like he would turn his head because he's always like, oh, somebody's gonna put it, and he'll see it's me and he'll just be like, oh, never mind,
Yeah.
because he just had that understanding of like, hey bro, I'm not here to hurt you. And he was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. And he was just, oh yeah, whatever. And like people like, oh, I'm like, don't worry, just stay away from his face, he's not gonna bite at you, it's me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you learn how to ride horses, and like that was really different. That's one thing I really miss right now is like
Yeah.
riding. Just to ride a horse in full canter is amazing. It has messed up roller coasters for me for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I cannot ride a roller coaster. Like I'm just like,
Which
oh, this is boring. So, and then you just learn your fight and that's it. But it took me about 6 months. It took me a year to do the head, leg, shoulders because it was on again, off again.
yeah.
And it took me 6 months to get into just from passing the test to get into the show my first time.
Okay. So what do you do in those 6 months? Like are you helping out like in the kitchen or
So so when you first get there, you start off as a stable hand to like learn the different tacks,
yeah.
how to dress a horse, how to take care of a horse, how to wash a horse. After that, you become a squire, which was when you help out the knights and you help out with all the fights. Because there's
Yeah.
6 fights you have to learn. You help out with one and then tell you like you know what you're doing, and then you go to the next one and the next one and so on and so forth. After that, then you become a knight. But sometimes people skip because they need knights.
Yeah.
So that whole year and 6 months, I was squiring the whole time
Yeah.
until finally I got in. I know it. I did get in for parade. I want to say 4 months in. It was either 3 or 4 months in. It was my first parade was either August or September because a lot of people were out. I
Yeah.
think it was September. So yeah, that was my first parade. And I did my first show in December 21st, 2018.
Okay. Do you have any wild medieval knights stories?
Uh, I probably do, but I'm like right now I'm blank.
Okay.
I will say one time I've fallen. I've fallen during the show during a parade because my saddle was not tight enough.
Yeah.
And so I was on the horse, I'm minding my business. We made a turn. And as we made the turn, I'm just literally just sliding off this
Yeah.
way. And I'm just like, I'm trying my best to just stay
Yeah.
on, and it's just not happening. Mind you, I have like an 8 foot like pole in my hand,
Yeah.
but like the horse was gradually, fading off from everybody else. So I'm falling. I finally say, you know what, forget this. And I let go. So I let go, and I land on the ground and I look up, and there's a horse like above me rearing about
Oh,
to come back down.
yeah.
And I still have this flag. Like this flag has never left my hand. It's just like
Yeah.
cemented in my hand. And I just roll out the way, and like there's that. I could tell my injury story. So it's funny now to me, but like it might not be the funniest for everyone. I last year I ruptured my patella tendon at work, and so I was just doing something that I always do, which is falling off the horse, which is initially just jumping off.
Yeah.
Um, I jumped off the horse and I landed, and I'm just like, huh, something's not right here. Like it just, I
Yeah.
don't know. And so like my first thought in my mind was like, hey, check out your knee to make sure there's no bone sticking out. And I'm like, why would I do this? And I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
checking it. And then like I just turned over to my squad and like, hey bro, I'm not okay. And like my like he's just like he's looking at me like, yeah, man, yeah, you are. I'm like, no, bro, I'm not okay. And you could just see like his smile and everything
Yeah.
just melts off, and he's like, oh no, what do I do? And I was like, just walk me to the back.
Yeah.
Um, so there's that. But like there's been so much stuff that happens. Like you're doing a fight and then like you're fighting and all of a sudden your sword falls out your hand.
Yeah.
I know one time I was fighting, and like I did something, my sword fell out, and we just kind of like looked down at it and looked up, and I grabbed it, and we just kept going.
Yeah.
Um, I've had weapons like we have this part where it's called a alavar, and an alavar is just a long axe.
Yeah.
So we had that where the guy had it and he used to blast you in the belt, which is fine because I don't care. I like contact
Yeah.
reasons why I wrestle. So and he would just take it and it would blast me. And one time he blasted me in my stomach, and you just see the piece just fly off and just like
Yeah.
spin out. And everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, I'm okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, it's stuff like that. And like, I used to be a couple of guys' favorite because I just didn't care about contact. So when it came to killing me, they would just blast me all the time. And I'm like, you okay? Yeah. You all right? You good? All right. So yeah. And like, we would just talk. So there's little things like that. And I know one time this one guy has this story because just like with wrestling, you're going to, talk and communicate all the time.
Yeah.
So like, there was not a lot of sand in the middle, and like I went to like get him because I'd like take him off the horse, and like I was like, hey bro, there's no sand in the middle. And he's like, okay. And then like I literally just go back into character just like that. And
Yeah.
like he tells the story, and he's like, dog, like Merrick was just sitting there, and he's like, oh, and then all of a sudden he's just like, there's no sand in the middle, and just like this the calmest
Yeah.
voice ever, just to go back to yelling and screaming. It's like, what is going on? So like there's little things that happen all the time, and it's just a fun time. Like no day is the same, and if it is the same, it's kind of boring. But no day is usually the same.
Awesome. How did so obviously your character was influenced by that. How did that process kind of start and what did that look like?
Okay. So one day there was like I guess there was like a group of people there. I wasn't knighting that day, but one of my coworkers was just he was talking about like the meet and greets because we meet and greet with the people after the show, and he
Yeah.
was saying like how somebody was saying there's no such thing as black knights, and I was like, that's not true. So I did my own research and I found out about the Moors because I personally didn't know about the Moors. I
Mhm.
may have, but I never really paid attention at
Yeah.
that time. But I found out about the Moors, and I was like, okay, cool, that's really cool. And then what I ended up doing is wrestling is realism. I just say like I did my ancestry.com or I did 23andMe, and I
Uh-huh.
found out like I have Moorish descendants. So that way it's just me being me, and people can
Yeah.
relate to that. And but it is what it is. But really, there's also the African Berber tribe.
Mhm.
They were a traveling tribe that helped like with fighting in wars and stuff like that in the medieval times as well. So I just use that as a way of just uplifting the education and the knowledge that there were black knights, and
Yeah.
there's just we just have to look out and just see these things. And then another reason too is because they made us wear hoods over our hair,
Yeah.
and I my hair was a little bit shorter than this when I first started, and like they would make me wear the hood because I don't have long flowing hair, and that
Yeah.
was everybody's thinking, oh, long flowing hair is the way of, if you don't have that you have to wear a hood.
Yeah.
So I had to wear a hood, and it looked so bad. It just looked like I was wearing a condom over my head because my hair would just be just this
Yeah.
big mass. And so they used to call me Megamind just because of that.
Yeah.
So I looked it up. I was like, hey, look, see, there's black knights here. They have afros and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was another reason why I got into it and why I looked up into it and stuff like that. And like, it's just just to bring awareness and understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know the Merrick Donovan character, what does it stand for? Like, what is his mission, and kind of what is the root of why he does what he does?
Yeah. So Merrick is again, he's a descendant of the African Berber tribe
Yeah,
and the Moors. He found out through Ancestry.com, the 23andMe.
yeah,
And and every day he's trying to pay homage to them whenever he enters the fray, the wrestling
yeah,
ring, in the battlefield. And really he just wants to show like just how hard they fought and never give up attitude and just chivalry is real whenever I haven't been approached by a young dame if you will
yeah,
around the ring, but chivalry and understanding, and he fights fair, but however when he needs to he can get dirty and he can do what he has to do to win. But in true knight armor, he's chivalrous, he's
yeah.
courageous, he's a hard fighter, and he's not dying until he dies. He's going to keep going.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And he has a sword that he brings to the ring. Have you ever used that sword in a match?
I haven't. I really wanted to, but it didn't happen. And if I will say, I have things in mind, but I just need like a promotion that no longer wants their turnbuckle after that last show.
Yeah,
We can make something work. I have an
yeah,
awesome idea of something I want to do.
yeah,
But no, I've never really used it. Um, honestly, it's kind of awkward to unsheath it and
yeah.
like do different stuff. And like sometimes when I'm wearing it, it's a lot. Like even going into ring, sometimes it's quite a hassle. I remember one time, um, I was in the ring with it, and I was heel, and this guy came out just to like bring a bat. So I went to
Yeah.
leave out the ring, and I went and I rolled out, and as soon as I get out, I just get yanked back, and I'm like trying to move.
Yeah,
The sword had got stuck on like one of the on both the ropes, and like I
yeah.
escaped out the middle, and I'm just like, so I had to like twist it. And I know one time with my older sword, it was breaking anyways. The same way like when you helped me out and take the sword that I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
now, it was breaking there. So I remember I did my usual call, and it just turned and just slid out. So like I'm like huzzah, like I'm in the middle of hard cam. You
yeah,
just see my sword just fall to the floor, and I'm like, yep,
yeah.
and I just walk away like I'm not gonna break character. So there, there's been parts where I'm just like I'm tired of the sword, but like I
Yeah,
enjoy it a lot.
yeah,
It's really cool, but it's hard to do little tips and tricks, and I haven't practiced with it. So yeah.
yeah. I was gonna ask you this earlier. We were talking about medieval knights, but how well do you think you'd fare in a sword fight based off your training?
I think I could survive for a couple.
Yeah,
I might be like the Black Knight off of Holy Grail, but yeah,
yeah,
it's just but a scratch. But I mean,
yeah,
I'll last a little bit.
yeah.
So
And is there a part of you that this is the last I'll talk about the sword. Is there a
okay.
part of you that wants to have like a match with Drew McIntyre, like winner gets to only use a sword?
Uh, I wouldn't mind that. I honestly, so I for the longest, I really want to use kendo sticks in the
Uh,
match, and I still haven't had that chance. But there is a match on YouTube versus me and Noah Vale
yeah.
for Naptown Pro where we use wiffle bats and we
Okay.
use them as swords. So that was the first time I got to do something, and it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah,
I want to do more with like a
yeah,
sword match, but I just haven't been able to do like a story or something
yeah.
like that with a company, and I'm just waiting for that opportunity.
Promoters out there, you know what you need to do.
Mhm.
Everybody's waiting for it. Um, so as far as like your career goes, you trained with Devon, you graduate, and now like I would like you were very high on the BW 500 list. You're an upcoming guy. Like Joe Black gave you nothing but like the highest praise on last week's episode.
Yeah.
People in this area of North Carolina are starting to get to know you. Um, what has it been like on this like last like where you're starting to finally elevate? What
Mhm.
has that journey been like for you, and what are some of like the favorite matches that you've been able to have as a result?
Honestly, so I felt like I was really starting to rise last year. And then my injury happened. Like literally, I felt like the a week to the day of my injury, I had just had one of my larger matches with Shug D and
Yeah.
Shug Buckerton, if y'all don't know what Shug D
Yeah.
is. So I had my first match, one of my matches with him, and like it was a lot of fun. It was on uncharted territory. Like a lot of people have seen it, so I knew I was like, okay, this is gonna start being my rise. Um, and then I literally had a match with Adam Priest the day before I got hurt
Uh-huh.
at Battle Slam, and then there was it just yeah. And it was kind of tough. If anybody ever wants to like watch the whole thing, I have the whole recovery is
Yeah.
the Conquest to Recovery on YouTube. So if anybody ever
Yeah.
wants to watch that, you can watch that whole process. From when I got injured, surgery, in between having fun, all the way to the first match back.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then when I came back, there was some like hunger. There was some like hunger. I don't want to say hunger pains, but like I don't know the correct term. But there was some bumps in the road. Um, but I'm starting to find myself again. It's just I'm just trying to navigate it and trying to figure stuff out. But
Yeah.
definitely the Shook match was a big one. Um, Honestly, the match I had with Tim, where as you said, Joe Black,
Yeah.
that was where Tim. I had the match with Tim, and Joe Black came to the ring and took the beads off of his neck and gave me the beads.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was a really big moment for me. I'm a person; it takes me a while to register.
Yeah.
It was a big moment for me because that was the first time or the second it was the second time someone has ever expressed true like this kid has something or I vouch for this kid for me.
Yeah.
And it meant a lot, and it sometimes it really just takes me back, that people actually like have that belief in me.
Yeah.
So like that match meant a lot, especially like me gaining that connection with Tim, because I had seen Tim a couple of times at Gymnasty Boys. But then it wasn't until he did a show, I want to say it was a couple weeks before that, or maybe the year before that. Um, Lift Every Voice and Sing. It's a Juneteenth show that we had in Florida that one of my Forgotten State Brother's DMC runs.
Uh-huh.
Um, he was on there, and like one of my friends, like he's just like you. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no, he's not. And I'm learning. I've become a person that understands like imprints in your life, because some
Yeah.
people like you might see them and there's a connection with them. It's like that person's like very familiar, but it's really like they're going to have some type of spark in your life. Because honestly, Joe doesn't know this, but during COVID, I seen a promo or I just seen a picture of Joe, and I was like, something literally resonated with me. Like this person, I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah.
And so after that, I started looking into him. I started following him. I'm like, okay, cool. But it wasn't until I met him in person and like been around him and stuff like that that I'm like, okay, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
And we never really exchanged much conversation. I know he had said, told him before that show, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be at that show. It'd be dope to see you, and like to work with you in the future. And he was like, no,
Yeah.
for sure. And that was the weekend that I got the beats, and I was like, oh wow, and I still like at that time I didn't know anything about the beats. I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I want the beats, I want the beats, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Like what is the beats? I it never dawned on me to fight for the beats. I got them.
Yeah.
And now like they resonate with me, and like it's their comfort. I have two things that I always wear in the ring. It's a headband I wear. I'm gonna break kayfabe, but it's a headband that I wear that I got from Shug Dunkerton after our match.
Yeah.
And I have the beats that I have from um, Joe Black, and I also have a small pair of beats because once I take off the beats, these beats that are on my neck means like they're always with me,
Yeah.
that I wear. So and those are from the two people that first ever gave me any type of praise or understanding or desire, like
Yeah.
they believe in me, and like it helps me to like stay focused and understand like people believe in me and people want me to succeed, and they're watching me and stuff like that. So like even like if I walk up to an arena and like I'm not feeling very comfortable or something, I'll put on the headband or I'll put on the beads, and it helps me to just relax and like
Yeah.
calm down and know like people know I'm good, it's fine, like just relax and just have fun out there. So
That's
um,
awesome.
that's, I forgot what the original question was, but
No, it's fun. Yeah, no, I think it's awesome, and talking to Joe last week and just like the people that are descendants from him that have like Alex Kane and O'Shea Edwards and Tim.
yeah,
Uh, recently, I don't know if Jackson Drake counts. I think he does because Tim gave, but like
yeah,
Jackson,
he counts.
yeah. So like all of these people that are just so incredible. There's not a bad wrestler amongst them.
Yeah,
Got to be awesome to know that you're a part of that. And I think to go back to what you said, like you weren't like fighting for him. I think that's the key. I think you have to be worthy. It's kind of like to gotta go back to medieval times, the sword and the stone, like Thor's hammer, like you have to be worthy of it. And that's not something you can teach. It's
right,
something that like so that's pretty awesome. And one of my favorite things like in wrestling is like the brotherhood of the beads and kind of like you see somebody with that beads and it's just like automatically like I need to watch this guy no matter what. And
yeah.
it's a really cool thing. So you're kind of restarting in a way because you're in North Carolina now.
Mhm.
What are your eyes on? Like, what are your goals for the next year, the next fight? Like, where do you want to be? What is the end goal for you?
Uh, honestly, so like to like I was saying, like it's been an uphill battle since my injury. Just trying to get back to where I once was, traveling and being places, and honestly, sometimes even just talent in the ring. For myself, some people like, dog, you're fine, but I'm a bad person, not person, but I nitpick myself. It was just how I
Yeah,
was trained. So honestly, I just want to be all over the place, and just next year I would like to be back traveling. I love to travel.
yeah,
Honestly, so it took me 4 years to get out of training only because they didn't tell me, hey, you can leave now. I
yeah.
thought like yeah, uh, long time. And from I had my first match January 21st, 2021.
Uh,
And then I think within either January or February, I was already at like Alabama and Tennessee, and I'd already been to like Georgia. So like I was already ready to like just travel
yeah,
because that's my favorite part of wrestling. That's one of the reasons why I got into to travel. So I just want to travel again. Like my biggest thing is I want to start getting paid and stuff. Like I hate to say it like that, but like I would like to get my paid to where like I can make this into a living thing, a
yeah. Of
respectable
course.
thing. Because honestly, like I'm gonna be real. When you're dating and you're like, oh, I'm a professional wrestler, like that's not a real job. I want to be like, oh, it's not a real job. Look at this. Like,
Yeah,
oh, and I'm like, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So it's really hard to date and be like, I'm a professional wrestler, and she like respects you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
um, so I'm like, I'm trying to get to the point where like I can travel and stuff, but like really, I want it's hard because like today I kind of was thinking like I never really wanted to get signed. I would take like the tryouts and stuff just for the experiences, but like today like and where I'm at, like I'm trying to find a job and stuff like that. Hate to get really real and stuff. I'm
okay,
trying to find a job and stuff, and I've been just getting delivery stuff. So like sometimes like I feel like maybe it's just the universe and the world manifesting like, hey bro, you don't need a real job yet, just do these
yeah.
delivery jobs because something big is about to happen for you.
Oh yeah,
So I'm like, all right, cool. So like maybe I need to like actually try and like get signed and like do different things because I don't mind being those big matches because like another big match I had was Jay Lethal at AEW.
yeah,
And I've been there, and even it was weird and it was surreal to me when like Aleister Black came up and he gave me critiques,
yeah,
and I'm just like, why are you talking to me? Like,
yeah,
in like not even like disrespectful way, but it's just like, why are you talking? That's crazy.
yeah,
So it's surreal, and like I feel like I can be in that area in that realm, and
Mm,
I can thrive, and I can give, you know, other children that look like me or children that act like me, because like
yeah,
I can be a little unique sometimes.
yeah,
That ability, that knowledge to know, like, it's okay to be yourself.
yeah, of
That's
course.
one thing I've been learning with this journey is like, be yourself. It's okay to be who you are, who you were born to be, and don't sit here and just wonder who you are and what you can and can't be. So I want to be that beacon for them, as much even for myself, to know like, hey, it's okay being who you are in your own skin.
Yeah,
So just to travel and to get my marketing up to where like people can see that, and you know, doing a couple shows and stuff, and making to where like when I can date, I can be like, I'm a professional wrestler.
yeah,
Ooh. That's really my biggest goals and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's just really just travel and grow.
yeah, yeah. I think all of that is amazing, and I commend you for it. But if we were one of those tabloid podcasts, the premise would be Merrick Donovan wrestles so that he can wants to be good at wrestling so he can get the babes. Like,
Exactly. That's where Night Bay comes in. So
yeah,
it all works.
okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that that's really cool. What are some of the like top 3 places that you've been able to travel through wrestling?
uh, I've been to California. I haven't wrestled. I went to West Coast Pro last February.
Uh-huh.
It was an amazing atmosphere. It was really dope to be out there. I've been to the arena, the famous arena where IWA Mid South used to be all the time.
Yeah,
And I went to this place in Bel Air, Maryland that was
yeah,
like a castle. It was an armory, but it was built
yeah,
like a castle, and it looked really dope. And like I would love to wrestle there again. Oh, and also I wrestled at Tullahoma, Tennessee at the Gypsy Joe Arena, and that was really cool. So like that was one of
yeah,
the first places I ever wrestled too. So like that was a really cool place as
yeah.
well.
Question: Bel Air Castle or the Sausage Castle?
Um, that's really hard. The Sausage Castle has games,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go with the games.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I stay away from the other games that are played there,
Oh,
but
I bet. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'll play the games. That's cool.
Awesome. Uh, and who are like some of like, let's say like over the next year, who are some wrestlers that you want to face, and then over a lifetime, what are some dream matches for you?
In the next couple years, I would like to wrestle Trey Shaw. I would like to wrestle Trevor Aon. I've been trying to wrestle him for a while. I would honestly, funny enough, the only person in the pantheon that I've wrestled is Tim, and
Yeah.
I've had a tag match with Alex Kane, but I would like tag match against Alex.
Yeah.
But I would like to wrestle Alex. I would like to wrestle O'Shea. I wanna like I've never met Kenway, so I would like to meet Kenway and wrestle
Yeah.
Kenway. I really just want, in true battling spirit, I just want to like wrestle them all, gain the experience from them all, and like just exchange blows as brothers.
Yeah.
Also, Ruthless Lala, she has some as well. They're purple. I'm a little jealous because purple's my
Yeah.
favorite color. And of course, Jackson Drake.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I met him. It was during pandemic time when him and Jay were still the prodigies of wrestling,
Yeah.
and like just mind blown. Just even then,
Yeah.
and like I remember last year, like when we were doing what's it called, Uncharted Territories. I was like,
Yeah.
why did y'all get those guys? Like they're phenomenal, and like they did finally get Jay this year for Futures, even though he should have been another one. They got Jay for
Yeah.
Futures, and then they're supposed to get Jackson, but unfortunately, schedules didn't align.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was they were phenomenal guys, and I definitely want to like wrestle with them and like experience them. They also got really tall. Like I don't appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I want to wrestle who else? Oh geez. Oh, Alpha Zoe. One time, there was like a card game or like a video game. Like I already knew about Alpha Zoe anyways, and like I already wanted to wrestle him to begin with, but they put a picture of me, or no, they put a picture of him saying it was me. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'm the East Coast Alpha Zoe.
Mhm.
So I want to wrestle him as well. Um, Jeez, I guess in the future, I would just say I would like to wrestle Adam Priest, because I feel like that he's gonna get signed very soon. Like it's crazy to me that no one's paying attention. Like people are paying attention, but it's crazy that he hasn't gotten signed yet.
Yeah,
Because
he's
I remember watching him during like the dark era tapings, like during COVID, and I'm like, oh, this guy's good. And like to see where he is now is it's phenomenal.
yeah.
So I would like to wrestle him again in a full length match. Um, and like there's a lot of kids in this area that I've been meeting that I really would like to work with. The Baby Lotion Browns, the Shocker, Eli
Oh,
Shock,
Elliot Shock, yeah.
um, Christian when he's okay.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a couple too that I've seen around as well. Oh, I also I want to wrestle Andy Brown. So that's one of my homies. I met him in Florida. He's in the Midwest, Mid East now.
Yeah.
He got hurt recently as well, but like I really want to wrestle him. Um, so yeah, I really want to match with Leo Rush. That's
Oh, yeah.
I'm upset that he was doing the matches with like the younger talent, and like that was when I was just coming back, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe if I was still okay, I would have gotten a match with him. Um, but I really my favorite gimmick, point blank period, is Blackheart Leo Rush, and that meant a lot to me just for like I feel like I'm a dark person sometimes,
Yeah.
so there's a character that I have now that's Warmonger, which is very much like Blackheart in a sense. He's just it was dark times, and like that's just me, full force, just being myself and
Yeah.
just thinking about just the hurt, the pain, the negative thoughts.
Mhm.
So I really would just love to have a match that is Blackheart versus Warmonger, because that would mean so much to me, because it's just dope. It's just
Yeah.
dope. Like
Yeah.
I love Leo. I love everything that he's done. Sucks that right now he's having another mental break.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like, I don't know what I'm feeling anymore, and I respect it too. But like that's something I really want. It's just a match with him.
Yeah. Well, I think with wrestling, like, nobody truly ever goes away.
Yeah.
There's always another match, even if it's like, look at CM Punk and whatever you think about him, but like there's always a chance.
Mhm.
Like Chris Hero just came back and started wrestling again, and I'm sure there's a lot of dream matches that are about to happen over the next year. So I'm gonna manifest that for you. Um, who are some talent, and you kind of mentioned a lot of them, but that you think that more people should know about on like a
Well, I'm always gonna like my guys from Forgotten State. It's Daniel Starling, phenomenal professional wrestler. Um, Noah Vale, people know about them now,
yeah,
but they need to know more about them. Ron Bass Jr., SON of an SOB,
yeah,
um, and DMC. Awesome, awesome. All of them are awesome talents. That's the reason why we're in Forgotten State. It's a
yeah,
joke, but now we're a group and we elevate. Oh, Robert Martyr, but everybody knows about Martyr, but
yeah,
they need to put some respect on my boy's name.
yeah.
Um,
Talk to you, Jim Cornette.
like what is that? Like
Yeah,
let him, whatever. But put
yeah.
some respect on my boy's name.
Oh yeah,
Um, but then also you just have other guys in Florida like the Gifted. There's a match that like this was when I was first like training. I was super super hungry. It's Leroy Shogun versus Merrick Donovan part 2.
uh,
Um, we literally just went ham. It was inside of a gym. It was a basically an indie crowd, not like indie wrestling, but like indie punk scene crowd
yeah,
of like guys like, oh, we never seen wrestling before. Like we need something to do on the weekend.
yeah,
But it was so much fun. That was when like I really fell in love with my style of wrestling and like what I want to do, and like that's one of my favorite matches that I've ever done.
yeah,
And so Leroy Shogun, Wheezy T, Logan Cruz, all phenomenal workers. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to like I'm kind of stuck in the Florida scene because like that's what I'm used to.
that's
But
that's good though, because a lot of people shout out North Carolina guys on here on the regular. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you different people, but
Yeah.
there's another guy, Randy Wentworth, verified champion. You so I don't know if you seen. Did you see a guy that's was on AEW that said I have a better small package than Daniel Bryan? There's a sign maybe like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think so. No.
Okay, well that's him.
Yeah.
And he's like he has like 1 million subscribers on YouTube and stuff like that because he was on a reality show called Snowflake Mountain. He
Yeah.
did that and like he's blowing up now.
Yeah.
Those are all my guys. Him, Tex McTex. If you want a guy that can talk circles, Tex McTex. And also my guy Robert Cologne. Awesome guy. Awesome guy. But in the North Carolina area, I really enjoyed Morgan Dash. I
Yeah.
got my first taste of him when I wrestled him, and like he was fun. And
Yeah.
like I feel like he's a guy that he just needs the right people to like work with him and mentor him and like allow him to develop. And
Yeah.
he's gonna be phenomenal. Like he
Yeah.
honestly he's I feel like he's really close to Leo Rush. He just needs the right people to like help him and hone in on his craft and
Yeah.
create the correct like skills, not skills, but like um move set and stuff. Um, I can't
He
remember his
just
last
turned
name.
18, I think, like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I know, and I'm like,
He's
oh, it
still
must be
super young.
nice.
Yeah.
Must be nice, bro. I can't remember his no Jakami. Is it Jakami Wolf?
Yeah. Jacoby Henry.
Is it Henry?
Yeah.
Okay,
He
yeah,
had that
Jakami.
WA show. Yeah.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
I've been talking to him. He's very raw, but like I feel like if with the right people chipping away with him, like I feel like he has the right mindset. He
Yeah.
just has to get the right skill set and stuff, and he'll be perfectly fine. I'm trying to think if there's any other guys that I can think of that doesn't get the right, honor and privilege that they deserve. But really, like I feel like as a person that's been watching independent, because like I've slowed down some because I'm always like delivering with Grubhub and Uber
Yeah.
Eats. Awful. um, I've missed out on a lot of independent wrestling like I used to. Like I would sit down and almost every day watch independent wrestling and watch people and like figure out people that are really good, people I want to wrestle and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I really feel like the southern scene is like we're not seeing enough. Like maybe like Tennessee and Atlanta they have it, but like North Carolina, like now we have Deadlock Pro and
Yeah.
PWF, but like Florida and like Virginia guys and even Maryland guys, like we're just not really getting the correct showage like we deserve. There's
Of
so
course.
much talent here, but
Of
like we
course.
just
Yeah.
need that opportunity to be seen and like understood. Like the West Coast has their own thing going on. Northeast is love and that and then some.
Yeah.
The Midwest is starting to get there as well, but like it's just these southern states and stuff we just need a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with that because there's so much talent.
Yeah.
Um, and then last question, we always ask, kind of end on a lighter note. What's the weirdest DM that you've ever gotten?
So since wrestling tied into my work life,
Yeah.
so when I went viral on TikTok for riding a horse,
Yeah.
I got quite a few. They weren't really weird. Some would just make no sense. Like I've been asked to dinner. I got when Bing Bong was a real thing. Like I got Bing
Yeah.
Bong, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
What was I know? Like just last week, somebody was like, "Oh, hey, like, do you work there? Cause like I had a flower thrown, but it got caught somewhere, and somebody helped me out, and then it broke, and someone stole it." And I'm like, "What do you want me to do? I can't. What
Yeah.
do you like? Even if I work there, what do you want me to do?" So
It's a flower. Like,
yeah, like no. I wish you could understand the amount of like savagery people have for those flowers. Like people will fight each other for those flowers. Like you know how like piranhas are with food.
yeah. Yeah.
If we have a group of like little kids and they're little rambunctious, and we throw the flower, the kids will literally just like
Yeah.
attack
Yeah.
each other just for that flower. and
Yeah.
like we have one for like the tournament. Like we would try to give it to them, and like they'll all just start reaching, and you have to be like, no, them, and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
and then you have to give it to that person. It's just, it was, it's a lot. Like the power of a person on a horse, it's pretty crazy. So
You should put that on a shirt. The power
yeah.
of a person on a horse is pretty crazy. I'd buy it. I'd wear that. Have you ever been to Myrtle Beach before?
uh I've been through it, but I haven't been
Okay.
there. No.
There's a place called Boardwalk at the beach, and there's
Okay.
probably other places that have this, but they have these little machines where you could feed the fish. Like put a quarter in, you get fish food, and you drop it in, and there's literally like fish like diving on top of each other. It's just a mountain of fish. And that's kind
Yeah.
of what I pictured when you said that.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is so bad.
Yeah, this has been really fun. Super excited that you're in North Carolina now. If you don't know Merrick Donovan, um, look him up, buy his shirts, follow him on YouTube for all of like the recovery and like early training and stuff. And then if you're a booker, book him, do yourself a favor. If you see him on a card, go see him. Whatever you can do to support Merrick Donovan, please do it. This has been great, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you. I'm glad that you asked me to join.
Of course. And one last time, where can people find you? Where can people buy your merch and all of that stuff?
Yeah, you can find me on SK Merrick Donovan. There's no C. Please don't see me, but I
Yeah.
appreciate you seeing me.
Yeah.
And YouTube, it's Merrick Donovan. And if you want to find my merch, it's on brainbusters.com with Sir Knight Merrick Donovan. I have beanies, stickers, shirts, sweatshirts, all the goodies.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm there.
How many calendars do you have left?
I have 9. I have 9 calendars left.
So get them while you can. Like,
Yeah.
it
And
is
if you want
November.
more, let me know. I'll
Yeah.
find a way to make 2024 calendars.
Yeah. Or you can just buy them half off in a month.
That too.
Either way. But thank you so much. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you.